What is going on, everybody? Project Rod here, and welcome to the Rodcast, the Monster Truck Fanatic podcast, which is your ultimate destination for all things monster trucks. Whether you're a diehard Monster Jam fan, a passionate follower of the sport, or just an avid player of the Monster Jam or monster truck related video games, this is the podcast for you. Once again, I'm your host, Project Rod, and here we are after not having episodes for 2 weeks on episode 14. Unfortunately, I've had horrible scheduling. I've been working on a lot of other projects. I was sick at some point. There was just a lot going on, and unfortunately, I wasn't able to get an episode out these past 2 weeks. But here we are getting episode 14 up and going and rolling, and let's go ahead and get it going with some quick updates for the channel. Again, the Showdown Championships, or what is it? The Showdown Champions League is coming up here pretty soon. There's been a lot of delays due to, people unfortunately not submitting on time. We had to get some replacement drivers in, and so on and so forth. So now we're looking at one league or one tour, which is Tour Purple having 12, or Tour Violet, having 12 drivers, and Tour Blue having 10 drivers instead of 12. So we did lower the number, unfortunately, on one of the tours, but it is what it is. We're going to move forward, and hopefully we can get it out here pretty soon. As at this point, it really should have been out. It really should have started today, the 14th, if I'm not mistaken. But, with everything going on, it's going to be looking more like November that the league is going to start. So very unfortunate, and I do apologize for the delay. I know a lot of you are waiting for it to get started and to see where we're going to land and how everything's going to be. So hopefully here soon we can get everything going and have the start of the Championship League, or the Champions League, in Monster Jam Showdown. In other news, we do have the All-Star Challenge for Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 coming out here pretty soon, hopefully in the next week or so. Today's Monday the 14th, so hopefully by next week, next Monday, which I don't know what day that is, possibly the 21st, I believe, Monday the 21st, so hopefully that week starts the release of the Monster Jam Steel Titans 2 All-Star Challenge, where we have 12 drivers from the past 3 seasons coming in and going head-to-head. We're going to have Team Crazy Jammers versus Team Thunderstorm, with Driftboy 912 and El Toro Loco leading Team Crazy Jammers, and Brendan Thunder in Megalodon leading Team Thunderstorm. We're going to have 6v6, and we do have a surprise driver joining in, and I'll go ahead and then wait until the release of those videos for you to see who that is, and looking forward to his debut in the competition as a whole, so looking forward to that. And in other news, we do have the Halloween Diecast Showdown coming out here pretty soon. I wasn't sure exactly when I wanted it to release, and I've decided on Halloween Day we will see the release or the debut of the official season of the Diecast Showdown League or series here on my channel. I forget exactly what I called it, but it is. I'm planning on making it kind of like a point series type thing. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. As of now, we're going to go themed with Halloween, hopefully Thanksgiving, Christmas, and all that stuff here coming up pretty soon. So looking forward to that series, and I hope you guys enjoy. And I really do love making these diecast series. It's really what got me my start in YouTube years ago. Many of you still remember that, and a few of those videos are still up on YouTube under the Monster Jam Drag Race series. So be sure to check that out if you haven't already, and looking forward to that to come. Any other news that I can think of? Oh, I did go see the Monster Jam road trip here on Saturday. I did go to a Walmart here in Houston, and it was great. I took some pictures. I posted them on Instagram, put them on my Discord, and I'll try to put them here in this podcast for those of you on YouTube. I know Spotify can't really see that, I don't think. I still haven't figured that out, but I haven't really looked into it that much yet, so that's my fault. But yeah, I took a lot of pictures, and it was really awesome. It was great getting up and close to these trucks. I mean, it's amazing, and just to think that I used to be smaller than these tires, and now I'm just a little bit taller than them, I believe. And it's just awesome. I mean, just the size of these trucks and seeing what the drivers see up close and personal. And I wish I could climb into one of them, and I'm sure we all do. But unfortunately, you can't do that. At least there. But it was really awesome. They had a couple of play sets out and stuff, and they did have a good little display box inside the store. I say a display box, but really I don't know what to call it, but a Monster Jam Road Tour Fire and Ice box full of diecasts. And I did get a few good ones that I haven't had yet. Finally got Thunder Roars, finally got the Monster Dalmatian Mercury body, and another Gravedigger with, I forget what it's called, but it's like that ice cream, I don't want to, maybe like candy shop type thing. I don't remember exactly what it's called, but it's all on my Discord. I did put it on there. I need to put it on my Instagram as well to kind of share everybody there. But But yeah, it was awesome. I was going to try to go on Sunday. Unfortunately, I wasn't going to be able to make it out. It is what it is. I got to see one, and that's really what matters, so I'm happy with that. And I do have the Marvel trucks. I'm going to be seeing them this Saturday, October 19th in Houston, Texas. If you guys are going to be there, please let me know. I'd love to meet you guys and do kind of a face reveal for the first time for many of you. And as of now, I do hopefully plan to go to the pit party. Again, it could all change. It's all subject to change. It really just depends on when I'm free and when I can make it out there. But hopefully I can make it to the pit party. If so, I'm going to be wearing a Project Rod shirt as long as it comes in on time. Be sure to say hi. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to talk to you and maybe interview you, a few of you here and there throughout the pit party and put y'all in a special podcast. So looking forward to that. Also be sure to check out the live stream for that if you're not in the Houston area or if you won't be able to make it out to the show. I'm sure it's going to be on YouTube and all that. So looking forward to all that. Really excited. Can't wait. I'm just looking forward to just the atmosphere and the smell of the fuel burning and all that stuff or whatever it is. I don't know. I love the atmosphere. I love the smells. I love just everything. When it comes to Monster Jam, and I'm super excited to finally go to one after not being to one since February of this year. So super hyped, can't wait to go, and looking forward to that. But one last thing in terms of my channel, I do have a BeamMG video that I just released or uploaded this past Sunday, yesterday. Be sure to check that out if you haven't already. Just a quick 6-truck freestyle, 6 random trucks I chose on BeamMG on the Monster Jam World Finals 20 track from Orlando. Just thought I'd have some fun, something quick to put out there for you guys, and I feel like it's pretty entertaining. If you like those kinds of videos, let me know, and I'm definitely going to pump more of those out. But I do want to do more with Angel and Trip, and really anybody else who has Beam. If you're interested, please let me know, and I'll be more than happy to include you in those videos, those 12-truck freestyle videos where I do commentary and all that. It's super fun. I really enjoy it, and I do have another one in the works here with Trip and Angel coming up pretty soon. So as long as I can make up some time for those, make myself available to get those edited and everything, I can get that out. But again, with the Showdown League, the All-Star Challenge, and Steel Titans 2 in the Diecast series, I'm kind of swamped at the moment. But we'll make it work. We'll get through it and get this content out for you guys. But today's episode is going to be based around Maximum Destruction, Max D, and Tom Meents. As many of you know, and it hasn't really been officially said. It's more so assumed or insinuated that Max D is done. He's retired. We're not going to see him anymore. I believe it was in Sydney. Sydney, Australia was the final show on Sunday, October 13th was the final show for the Max D truck with Blake Granger behind the wheel of Max D. And I did see something on Discord that it wasn't even the chassis, the correct chassis for the truck. It was just a regular CRD chassis or something. I forget exactly what it is. Don't quote me on it. But yes, it is the final show for Max D. There's no more news about him. Nothing in the future. Nothing for the future shows for anybody driving Max D, unless Monster Jam just decides to surprise us out of nowhere. But as of now, and again, don't quote me on it. As of now, Maximum Destruction, Max D, however you want to call him, is officially retired. We knew Tom Meents was retired after his injury back in, I believe it was Indianapolis, earlier this year, February 4th, I believe, 2024 was when he had his neck injury that put his retirement year, his final year, at a complete halt. So very unfortunate and very upsetting for the Monster Jam community. But depending on where you look, I believe it was the Monster Truck Wiki, it said that this was the final appearance for Max D, that there was going to be no more. And if it is, it's very, very unfortunate. I'm going to call out Monster Jam here for how they're treating it, because there hasn't been an announcement. There hasn't been anything said. They don't even acknowledge it. I don't know. I don't want to bash them too hard, just in case this really isn't it, and they do have plans for someone else to take the wheel and drive Max D. I don't see why they would stop having Max D attend shows, given that it's such a popular truck. It's one of the best known trucks, one of the trucks with the most championships of all time, 14 World Finals championships, all with Tom Meents, behind the wheel. And for them to just end it like that and not really say anything, not really acknowledge it, is very disappointing and very, very sad, to say the least. But again, this is all assumption. Nobody knows for sure, but we're going to go ahead and say that this is the last show, given that no future or further information has been given. So really, it's just going to be a brief, just a history of Maximum Destruction, how we got here, and Tom Meents as well, and just reliving some past moments, some past memories that I share, or that I've had of Maximum Destruction. So again, as many of you know, Maximum Destruction wasn't always Max D. It wasn't even always Maximum Destruction. It started as Goldberg in the year 2000 when Monster Jam had a contract or a partnership with the World Championship Wrestling League or business. I don't know exactly. I'm not huge on wrestling. I'm not really familiar with it. So I apologize if I get some of this wrong. I'm just kind of going off of what I know. But again, in the year 2000, Goldberg was debuted. Tom Meents drove it, took it to World Finals, and it got the Racing Championship. Almost got Freestyle as well, scored a 39 after 2 hits, which is still very controversial and I have mixed feelings about. But again, I made a whole video about that. Be sure to check that out on YouTube if you haven't already. But again, 2000 was the last year that we saw Goldberg in the futuristic SUV body. Okay, scratch that. I made a mistake. So Goldberg ran 2 years, in the year 2000 and 2001, where Tom Meents was driving behind the wheel of Goldberg and won Racing and World Finals 1 in the year 2000. And in 2001, won Racing and Freestyle. He doubled down for the first time ever, and really the only driver to ever do so in the history of the Monster Jam World Finals. In 2002, he debuted Team Meents, and he went and doubled down again in World Finals, winning both Racing and Freestyle. So he was already a 5-time World Finals champion in only the 3rd year of the World Finals competition. Again, the contract or partnership with the World Championship Wrestling League, or whatever it is, with that ending, he went ahead and got behind the wheel of Team Meents, which I did see somewhere that he planned on debuting Maximum Destruction a lot sooner. Unfortunately, with the horrible events of 9/11, he decided to postpone it because of the name of the truck, Maximum Destruction. It was a very sensitive topic. So he did delay it, and he didn't debut until 2003, where a lot of people, myself included, thought the original debut was in Houston, Texas, which in fact it wasn't. It was in Alabama with Neil Elliott behind the wheel. In Birmingham, Alabama in 2003, the truck made its debut. And then the next day, Tom Meents debuted his truck in Houston. So technically, Tom debuted it, yes, in Houston, so that is correct. But the truck was originally debuted for the first time in Birmingham, Alabama back in 2003. So again, legendary truck, and this is kind of where we are with this. Again, like I said, this isn't going to be the best explanation. It's just going to be a quick history of the truck itself and just kind of going back in time a little bit. But again, throughout the 2000s, Tom and his team, they didn't want to just win. They wanted to thrill. They wanted to be the best at what they do, and that he did, setting all kinds of new records and performing just the most amazing stunts. Going a little bit further into the future, going for the double backflip attempts, going for the front flip attempts, and just the backflip in general. Again, kind of going back in time a bit, back when I first witnessed, and again, this was Neil Elliott behind the wheel, not Tom Meents, but Neil Elliott behind the wheel in Houston back in 2012? When Maximum Destruction did the first backflip in Houston, it was Neil Elliott behind the wheel and doing it off of like a semi-truck container. It was amazing, and I had the perfect seat for it. And it's something that I'm always going to treasure in my heart, and I'm always going to remember. Like I said, unfortunately, I'm getting the dates wrong, I'm sure. It's putting me on the spot, and I'm trying to remember a lot at once right now, so that's on me. But again, it's something that I'm never going to forget. It's going to be a memory that's embedded in my head, sitting there and watching this truck just do a backflip right in front of me. And it's just something that, again, is going to be a special memory in my mind, in my heart. But again, this guy and this team really was just insane, and they wanted to do the most massive jumps and crashes and everything. And he's going to go down as one of the most crazy and amazing drivers and trucks in Monster Jam history. But again, with being the best comes a rivalry, comes other people wanting to be the best and take you down from that top spot. And who else but Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger being the rival to Tom Meents and Maximum Destruction, and they gave us the best rivalry, or one of the best rivalries in motorsports history up until Dennis retired in 2017. But yet Tom still had a rivalry with Gravedigger, especially with Adam Anderson. Here recently, I was watching a show on Pluto TV where they have that Monster Jam channel, and I believe it was Houston back in maybe what year was it? I mean, Dennis was still around, obviously. So maybe 2015, 2016. No, actually, no, it was 2018, excuse me. So Dennis had already retired. It was a Monster Jam show for 2018 in Houston. And Adam was saying how, he had Tom tell him one thing and say, man, that was a great run. That was awesome. He was referring to a different show. He was like, man, that was a great run. It was a great freestyle run, whatever, praising him. And then he immediately went behind his back and said, man, that run was lame. It was like he could have done better. I could have done better. And basically bad talking Adam Anderson behind his back to somebody else about the same run that he was praising him for. So that rivalry was there. And he was like, I'm ready to show this old man what I'm capable of doing. And he did that in that show, and I believe Monster Energy ended up winning that freestyle competition. Gravedigger came in second, but Max D, at that time it was Max D instead of Maximum Destruction. He did end up coming out, and he put on a show, but he wrecked pretty quickly, and unfortunately was not able to get a freestyle win or really match Gravedigger and Adam Anderson's energy or run. But we'll go ahead and come back to the history of Maximum Destruction as a whole. I keep getting sidetracked, but of course, with all the highs came some lows, and who could forget back in Monster Jam World Finals World Finals 4 in 2003, where Tom came out for freestyle, and he decided to start off with a camper that was just parked perfectly there for someone to just come in and hit at the start of freestyle. And he just hit the camper head on and just fell right on it. And that was the end of the run. He got stuck and couldn't go any further. So that was it for Maximum Destruction. That was a debut for the first time ever in Monster Jam World Finals, and it ended with him getting stuck on a camper. And aside from that, he's had some other down moments, if you will, but again, more highs than lows for Maximum Destruction. And even in these moments of destruction, even in these moments of despair, he always shined no matter what, and he was able to come back stronger and more resilient and more daring than ever before. I mean, at some point he even jumped his own house, and again, like I mentioned, back attempting the first ever Monster Truck front flip, back in 2015. I mean, he pushed the boundaries and for people, what people thought was not even possible in this sport. And I mean, Tom Meents took Max D to all of these lengths and to all of these extremes. And as the years went on, Max D evolved with new looks and bodies and drivers. In 2013, it got its first iconic spike design, and from then on, instead of Maximum Destruction, it was referred to Max D, and that's how it changed. And a lot of people like to think that it was back when Monster Jam was trying to be a little more PC. They were removing guns from names and guns on trucks. They were trying to get all of that removed to go to more of a friendlier, more PC feel. Think back to Soldier Fortune taking the turret guns off the top of their trucks, and Gunslinger being changed to Slinger. Metal Militia having a new paint job and removing the guns off. And I'm trying to think of more examples, but that's really all I can think of at the moment. But Maximum Destruction being this huge, violent name, if you will, being changed to Max D for short, which was fine. I mean, it was a shorter name, and it worked. It's not like they changed his name completely to Minimal Disruption or something. I don't know. I can't think of something witty to say, but it still kept what it was trying to do. So I believe that it was an okay move. It wasn't as bad as the others that had to change, but again, back in 2013, got it that iconic spiked look, and again, over the years, changing to different bodies and paint jobs and everything. And I mean, there was plenty. There was the candy red, there was the gold, there was the yellow, there was the Max D 20th anniversary paint scheme. There was a split paint scheme that we had earlier this year, where it was half Maximum Destruction, half 20th anniversary Max D body. The complete gold one, I don't know if I mentioned yellow, but the complete gold one over the blackout Max D, which I think was one of the best. I mean, we had tons of different kinds of variations of Max D throughout the years, but in 2017, Tom did have some injuries, unfortunately, and the truck still kept competing with the Max D team expanding with Colton Eichelberger and Blake Granger. Colton Eichelberger, excuse me, I kept mispronouncing his name, being Tom's stepson, and Blake Granger, who was still continuing driving the truck up until, again, Sunday, October 13th in Sydney, Australia. So there were still other people able to continue that legacy and continue driving the truck, driving Max D as a whole. But, fast forward to 2024, Tom Meents, after over 2 decades of dominance, announced his retirement, marking the end of an era for both himself and Maximum Destruction. And again, over his career, Max D racked up 14 Monster Jam World Finals championships, and just cementing his name in the history books for Monster Trucks and Monster Jam as a whole. Monster Maximum Destruction being one of the most successful and beloved trucks in Monster Jam history. And even though the truck is not retired, its legacy still lives on in the hearts of fans, and in its countless records it broke. Jumps it cleared and rivalries it fueled. So, looking back at Maximum Destruction wasn't just a monster truck, it was a symbol of passion and fearlessness and the relentless pursuit of pushing the limits of the sport. Whether you were a Max D fan or a Gravedigger loyalist, or just someone who loved the spectacle, there's no denying that Maximum Destruction will forever be a cornerstone of Monster Jam history. I myself used to quote-unquote hate Maximum Destruction and Tom Meents because I was a die-hard Gravedigger fan growing up. I loved Dennis, I loved Gravedigger, I loved anybody who was driving it at that time. I mean, Gravedigger was the truck for me. That's all I wanted to see. Gravedigger was the best, and nothing could change my mind up until back in 2008. And I think this is where I'm getting the dates mixed up. 2008 is the turning point of my fandom ship to Maximum Destruction. 2012 was the first backflip I saw Neil Elliott do in Maximum Destruction in Houston. So let's go back to 2008, where Max D and Tom Meents was driving behind the wheel of Max D at this time. Maximum Destruction, excuse me. And it was a very basic track. It was like 4 stacks of cars and a random camper that Blue Thunder absolutely obliterated earlier in the competition. But Max D was the last truck out. Gravedigger was currently in the lead for the freestyle win, and he comes out and does what he does best. Absolutely destroys everything, destroys the truck, breaks one tire off, continues to run, rolls over, saves it again. He's just going all over this track, absolutely causing maximum destruction. And I mean, it was amazing, and my jaw dropped. I can't find this video anywhere. My sister was the one that recorded it, and she's looking at the truck. The truck just finished freestyle. She pans over to me. My jaw is on the floor. And then she goes back, and Tom's just out celebrating and everything. And it was just amazing. Again, another memory that I'm never going to forget in my many, many years of being a Monster Jam fan. And that was the turning point where I was like, you know what? This guy is insane. This guy is an amazing driver, and I'm sure there's going to be more to come in this guy's career. And sure enough, I was right, because this guy, again, 14 championships on top of countless save of the years and freestyles of the year and just countless awards. I mean, the most decorated truck in Monster Jam history, truck and driver in Monster Jam history. And I don't know if we're ever going to see another truck like Maximum Destruction or Tom Meents. There's still Gravedigger, obviously. Gravedigger has done amazing things, both with Dennis behind the wheel as well as the others. And just Gravedigger as a whole is one of the most iconic monster trucks as well in all of history, and one of the most well-known around the world. But Max D, Maximum Destruction, Team Meents Goldberg, well, however you know him, even going back to Bulldozer and Monster Patrol, has just the most amazing history. And it's going to be very sad to see a future of Monster Jam with no Max D in it, as well as no Tom Meents in it. And really, if you can think back to your favorite memories of Maximum Destruction, let me know down below. Let me know your favorite moment and your most memorable moment of Maximum Destruction, Max D, Team Meents Goldberg, whatever it is, whenever you decided to, or whenever, not when you decided, but whenever you became a fan, the first time you ever saw Tom Meents drive any of these trucks that he's known for. Let me know your favorite memory. And again, there's tons and tons of memories. Again, my moment in 2008 was the turning point. The 2012 freestyle, or excuse me, backflip off the container. 2011, Arlington 2011, the most memorable moment, or really, honestly, the most memorable moment of Maximum Destruction, when he just completely ripped off that front end and sat that truck up right and just amazing. And I mean, he kept that truck and displayed it somewhere. I forget exactly where. I think it was World Finals for a pit party. And again, all the championships, all the different body schemes, all the tricks, the attempted front flip, the attempted double back flip, the original back flip, all the encores for Max D. When him and Dennis came out in World Finals, was it 2 or 3? I don't recall, where they just come out and they just start wrecking each other's trucks. I believe it was World Finals 3. They just start wrecking each other's trucks and just crashing into each other's trucks. And I mean, there's just so many moments in the history of Maximum Destruction and Tom Meents, and it's so sad to see that this is possibly the end. And again, hopefully this is all for nothing at the end of it. Hopefully I'm just talking just to talk, and Max D will continue. But again, and this is a question I'm asking you and myself, but do you honestly want to see somebody else other than Tom Meents continue the legacy of Max D? You know, we have Adam Anderson and Weston Anderson now, and Kristen Anderson, all continuing the legacy of Dennis Anderson and Gravedigger, as well as all the other amazing Gravedigger drivers continuing the legacy. But again, the children of Dennis, the original driver, the creator, if you will, of Gravedigger, continuing that legacy. And you know, it's great. No one's ever going to drive Gravedigger like Dennis did. No one is ever going to be a better driver than Dennis and Gravedigger than Dennis. But continuing that legacy is great to see. But what about Tom? Who's going to continue his legacy? You know, and is it a truck worth continuing? Really is the question here, because again, there's never going to be another Tom Meents. There just never is. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you think. There never is going to be another Tom Meents, just like there's never going to be another Dennis Anderson. And I'm really curious to see what's going to happen. Again, if the truck retires, it retires. It is what it is. It's a very sad day. And but honestly, I feel like it's for the best, because I don't think I want to see anybody else drive Max D other than Tom. I mean, I get Colton and Blake drove it. Neil was a hell of a driver, mind you. Conversation for another day. But yes, they drove while Tom was driving, but now that Tom is completely out of the equation, is it worth it to see Max D driven by somebody else in the future? And I feel like that's a question we all need to ask ourselves. And I feel like I don't think I can do it. I don't think I want to see anybody. If Tom isn't driving at the time, like, you know, if he's driving in one city and Neil is driving in another, that's fine, whatever. But if Tom is just completely out of the equation, I don't think I want to see anybody else drive Max D. But that might just be me. That just might be me being kind of selfish and just not wanting to, I guess, share the name, if you will. I don't know. I'm torn in two. But if this really is the end for Max D, then it was a hell of a run. And Tom, I doubt you'll ever hear this podcast, but thank you for all the memories. And I don't want to end this podcast just yet. I don't want to end this episode just yet. I do want to discuss or really go over a history of Tom Meents, and I really should have done this forever ago when he originally retired. Again, he wasn't supposed to retire until completing competition this year, but that injury is what unfortunately stopped him. So it was an abrupt end, and I guess I just didn't want to accept it. But I guess I'm going to treat this as a tribute video, I guess, to Tom Meents, if you will. But again, if everybody knows who Tom Meents is, again, the professor of Monster Jam, the 14-time World Finals champion, and one of the craziest drivers ever in existence in Monster Jam and Monster Truck history. Again, born on July 10th in 1967, Tom Meents is a Paxton, Illinois native. He's from Paxton, Illinois, and there was somebody who got that mistaken at some point. I forget exactly what state and town they said he was from, but they did correct that later on. But again, from Paxton, Illinois, born July 10th, 1967. Tom wasn't always behind the wheel of a 10,000-pound monster truck. No, he started his journey, in a mud truck called Shake Me, and there was many events that he competed in. And his grit, his determination, and raw talent were just undeniable. In 1993, he made his monster truck debut driving Monster Patrol for Paul Schaefer. Working in Schaefer's auto yard when not competing, Tom built his craft from the ground up, and his first appearance at the Thompson Speedway was memorable. But again, amazing driver all from the start, regardless of what he was doing. But by 1999, he had firmly established himself as a major player in the industry, famously beating Dennis Anderson in Orlando. And this set the stage for one of the most iconic rivalries in all of motorsports. Again, I touched on this before, and I'm always going to bring this up, and no matter who you ask, they will give you the same answer. They are one of the biggest, rivalries in motorsports history, and definitely a fun one to see. But ironically, Tom did drive Gravedigger number 12 when Dennis was injured back in 1999, I believe. More or less, so that my 1999, 2000, I believe it was 1999. It was a fun twist in their rivalry, but although it was fierce on the track, it was always lighthearted off of it, and they learned to become great friends. Dennis, I remember in an interview, said how much he hated Tom and how he couldn't stand him and his cockiness and his arrogance, and they just learned to love each other and be just amazing friends in this rivalry. So yes, it was heated on the track, but off the track, they were just amazing friends who just loved doing the same sport and were amazing in the same sport. But again, amazing chemistry between those two. And in 2000, as I mentioned before, Meents drove Goldberg, which was named after the pro wrestler Bill Goldberg, and the truck was the precursor to his iconic Maximum Destruction truck, which debuted in 2003. But Team Meents came before that, obviously. Again, he wanted to debut Maximum Destruction a lot sooner, but with the 9/11 incident, unfortunately, he just decided to wait. But again, his futuristic SUV body was very iconic and very different, if you will. And nobody else has ever really tried rocking that body because it just belongs to Maximum Destruction. And it's probably for the best. But again, if there's one thing you need to know about Tom, is that he's a record breaker. Not only is he the only driver in Monster Jam history to hold over 5 championships, he has 14 of them. And he's won the Double Down numerous times, the only driver to do so. And just racing and freestyle and skills championships and all of those. Again, he is the professor, and he's always trying to go further and go beyond the I guess average truck or move or whatever it is. I mean, he's always thinking, he's always trying to progress the sport. And again, he's not the only one. We have others like Ryan Anderson and such who take it to the next level, but Tom is one of the ones who really made a lot of these things or tried to progress a lot of these moves and tricks and stuff in the sport. But again, list of accomplishments don't stop there. He's also the only driver to ever win the racing championship 3 times in a row, and the only one to win freestyle back to back, again, all in world finals. And again, let's not forget his amazing world record of having the longest nose wheelie in a monster truck with 209 feet back in Florida. That was achieved in Bradenton, Florida. During the Monster Jam Breaking World Records events, where a lot of other drivers broke some amazing world records. Now, beyond his driving skills, Tom made a lasting impact on the sport by founding Monster Jam University back in 2014. This is where the nickname the Professor, comes from. Tom wasn't just about winning. He wanted to give back to the sport and train the next generation of monster truck drivers. His dedication to developing future stars speaks to his love for the sport and the desire to see it continue grow. Now, off the track, Tom is a family man. He's married to his wife Darcy and has a daughter named Hannah and 2 stepsons, Colton and Jared, both of which drove Monster Jam trucks themselves, I believe. Jared, what did he drive? Did he drive Max D? I'm trying to think back. It's been a while. But again, they both drove Monster Jam trucks at some point. But after 32 years of jaw-dropping performances, Tom unfortunately retired in 2024. His final season was filled with emotional moments, including tributes to his late father Bill and one last freestyle win in his favorite venue. Now, unfortunately, his career did come to an end back on February 4th, 2024, where he sustained an injury to his neck. I believe he dislocated his neck, which we found out later on. And again, very unfortunate and very heartbreaking. I was fortunately able to see Tom Meents perform in Houston one last time, I believe a week or 2 before this this show in Indianapolis where the accident happened. And I believe, I forget exactly what move it was doing, but he basically landed just straight down on the roof, and that's what caused the injury. And unfortunately, although he did hope to come back from that injury, he just wasn't able to do it. And he did recover, but I think he recovered to the point to where if he tried to drive the truck and something were to happen again like that, or some other kind of aggressive hit, it could have gotten worse. So again, it's very unfortunate, but it's for the best, because it was keeping him healthy, it was keeping him safe, and away from any possible further injuries that could have been way worse than what he endured at that time. But it was announced on February 13th that his son, Colton Eichelberger, would take his spot for the rest of the season. However, Blake Granger would eventually take over for him, and then Cody Saucier drove for a few other stops after that. Tom Meents would not be invited to World Finals 2024. The truck would. It was Blake Granger who was invited, but again, Tom, he just wasn't able to drive. He wasn't going to be able to come back, so he wasn't able, to perform in World Finals in 2024. And this would be the second World Finals without him or Dennis Anderson. And again, at this point, that's just how it's gonna be. It's very heartbreaking and unfortunate, but time waits for nobody. And it was just a date that we all knew was coming. We just weren't ready for it yet. But Tom is going to continue his influence on the sport, again, being a stunt coordinator as well as the full-time professor at Monster Jam University. So he's going to continue working with these rookies, these up-and-coming rookies, as well as current drivers, to enhance the sport, to make it better, to help it grow, and to work on the next big and best moves. So again, Tom Meents' impact on Monster Jam goes far beyond the flips, the freestyle victories, the championships, the stunts, the carnage. He set the standard for what it means to be a champion, both on and off the track, with records that we may never see broken, and a legacy that inspires future drivers. Tom Meents truly is the professor of Monster Jam. So again, just all out a great driver. And I hope I explained most of his history right. I'm sure I messed up in some points, or I may have kind of rambled on for a while, so I do apologize for that. It's a lot of information. It's a little emotional, and again, just very sad to see him go. And we hope for nothing but the best for Tom Meents and his family, and looking forward to what future impact and what future he brings to Monster Jam. And just to go over a brief history of himself and all the appearances in World Finals. Again, he was in World Finals, just about all of them up to this point, except this last one. Again, Goldberg in 2000 and 2001, Team Meents in 2002, where he won championships in all of those years. He debuted Maximum Destruction in 2003, where unfortunately he just had a lot of issues and wasn't able to get any championships that time. He came back in 2004 and won freestyle, came back in 2005. Basically from 2003 to 2012 he was in Maximum Destruction, and then in 2013 he made a switch. So 2013 all the way to 2016 drove Max D. In 2017 he was injured and unable to perform. 2018, 2019 drove Max D again. Then we had the pandemic happen in 2020, and then 22 to 23 he drove Max D again, and that was the last time we saw Tom Meents in Max D in the World Finals competition. He was in the All-Star and Superstar Challenge both in 2019 and 2023. 2019 he was in Max D Fire, on Team Fire and the captain of Team Fire, and in 2023 he drove Max D in Team Nitro. And then here are the long list of awards, and I'm sure I'm going to miss some. But again, World Finals, Racing Champion in 2000, Racing and Freestyle Champion in 2001, Racing and Freestyle Champion in 2002, Freestyle Champion in 2004 and 2006, won Save of the Year in 2007, won Wow Factor of the Year in 2008. In 2009, he was the Racing Champion. In 2009, he also won Donut of the Year and Wow Factor of the Year. 2010, Crash Madness of the Year. 2011 and 12 won the Racing Championship, again back to back. In 2012, won the Crash Madness of the Year award. 2013, the Freestyle Championship. Also, Save of the Year in 13 and 14. In 15 got Save of the Year. In 16 got Donut of the Year. 17 and 18 Donut of the Year. 2017, your two wheel skills World Finals champion, and also the Stadium Series 1 champion in 2019. 2021 got Extreme Air of the Year. 2022 Stadium Series Red champion in 2022, won the Skills Championship and the World Finals Freestyle Championship. In 2023 got the Two Wheel Skills of the Year, and in 2024 Save of the Year and Lifetime Achievement Award. The professor himself, Tom Meents, thank you for everything that you do. I don't know if you're ever going to listen to this, but if you do, thank you for an amazing childhood. Thank you for all the memories. Thank you for being you and being just an absolute amazing and talented driver on the track. You've inspired many of us to just be the best at what we can be, and to never give up and to never stop. And for all those other younger kids who may be listening to this and who may see footage of Tom Meents in his past, this is it. That's the bar. That's the guy you need to reach, and that is an amazing example of what it means to be a champion in Monster Jam. Again, Tom Meents, thank you so much for all that you've done and for giving us all these amazing memories. I can ramble on and thank you for a lifetime. And I think I speak for everybody when I say thank you so much for everything that you do. So again, that's going to be the end of today's episode. Just wanted to go over a brief history of Tom Meents and Max D. Like I said, I'm sure I missed some information or got some information wrong. Again, it's a very touchy subject. It's a very sensitive subject, and somewhat of an upsetting topic to talk about, because again, this guy is just amazing, and the things that he's done throughout the years for Monster Jam and for many drivers and for many fans alike. I mean, I'm sure he's inspired a lot of us, and it's very sad to see him go, as well as a truck that he just put on the map and put out there, and that is just one of the most popular trucks out there and the most decorated truck in Monster Jam history. And I'm sure we're going to see him as the next inductee to the Monster Jam Hall of Fame. So with today's episode, I'm going to end with the comic question of the day, which again, huge thank you to Nitro Studios for giving me a comic question of the day today. Has done a lot of these, so I'm extremely grateful to him, and keep them coming, as well as anybody else listening. If you have a comic question of the day you'd like to share, or you would like for me to answer on the show, please be sure to comment down below. Really quick, it's going to be his answer to my question to him in that episode, which was, what was your favorite, or what was the best Monster Jam World Finals in your opinion? And he states that, in my opinion, the best World Finals was World Finals 9 from 2008, and his favorite World Finals is World Finals 20, mainly because it was the first World Finals that he was ever he had ever been to, and probably the most fun he's ever had at a show. So great choice. World Finals 9 was an amazing World Finals. I agree, one of the best. I'm trying to think back of what I think is the best, and honestly, it's really hard to choose. I'd have to really go back and think, because 2007 Monster Jam World Finals 8 will always have a special place in my heart. It was the first World Finals DVD I ever got, and I watched that constantly over and over and over and over again. World Finals 9, though, was an amazing one, as well as 10. 10 is always going to be one of my favorites. I'm trying to think of another one. I believe it was, whichever one Northern Nightmare won, I believe that was 12. I don't remember. That one was amazing, as well as when Avenger won his second title. And then when back in 2015, World Finals 14, I believe, or World Finals 15, excuse me, when Metal Militia and Todd LeDuc won his. I mean, all amazing World Finals. It's hard for me to pick one, but definitely a good choice. Nitro Studios, a great choice. So thank you for that. And his comic question of the day is, if Bigfoot was to return to Monster Jam, do you think they would benefit from it? And I believe both parties would benefit from it. I believe, Bigfoot is already a big name as it is, but unfortunately, I feel like he's kind of overshadowed by Monster Jam and everything going on in Monster Jam. Bigfoot has kind of been in smaller, lesser well-known shows, and doesn't really go worldwide or anything. And who knows, maybe Hot Wheels, I don't know if they have already, but I know they've made the toys for Bigfoot, but maybe they'll bring Bigfoot to some of the shows, and I don't know, maybe there'll be something there. But given that Bigfoot is kind of working with Hot Wheels right now, it may not be something we see in the immediate future, but still, I believe that both trucks will greatly benefit from, or excuse me, both parties will greatly benefit from it, because Bigfoot being the original monster truck, and Monster Jam taking monster trucks to a even greater level. Just both brought an amazing thing to the sport, and both made a lot of changes to the sport itself. One created it and one improved it, or advanced it, if you will. So I feel like, yes, it would greatly benefit in terms of bringing more fans to the sport, bringing more interest to the sport, as well as, bringing that Bigfoot name back up. Again, most people know Bigfoot. A lot of people know who he is and what he stands for, but I feel like he's kind of lost his importance in the sport, because Monster Jam has just taken it to a new level. And then you have, Gravedigger, you have Max D, you have Son of a Digger, you have all these other big name trucks that are just going out there and taking the sport that much further. And I feel like there isn't much exposure to Bigfoot, and really anything to kind of put light on him that, hey, this is the original, this is what started all of this. So great comment question of the day. So thank you again to Nitro Studios, and thank you all who listened today. It was a long one. Again, I kind of rambled on. I hope I didn't mess anything up or mix any information. So I hope you guys enjoyed, and again, thank you so much for listening. I'm Project Rod, and we'll see you in the next one.